All right, jumping right into this best ball draft here. This is a little bit of a different one. This is a slightly lower field. I think there's 46 and change thousand entries in this one, so it's a lot less than some of the other ones. This is a $10 buy-in contest. And if we look here, obviously we want to make it to week 17. When you make it to week 17, oh, it didn't say here. Oh man, it doesn't say here anymore. But it's I think it's a 54 person field in week 17. And yes, oh yeah, we can see it right here. If you make it to week 17 and you finish last, you make 500. Obviously, yeah, we want to make a couple teams to week 17, and if one or two of them only finish down here in the bottom towards 54 and hit back for 500, that'll be nice at the end of the year. But really, I want to squeeze a couple teams up here into the top 10, win $3,000 or more, and preferably really in the top 3 where we get that 25,000 or higher outcome. Really, we want that 100K. We want to take this down. There's not that many people in this draft. Or I mean, not in this draft. Obviously, there's 12 people in the draft, but in this contest overall, compared to the large field one, the $3 one where you could win 100,000, or the millionaire maker, the one that we all want to win, where first prize is 3 million, 2 million the second, and 1 million the first. Hopefully, I can claim one of those bad boys. That's obviously, preference number one. You know what I mean? But got to cover my own ass a little bit here and enter some of these other DraftKings tournaments where, you have a little bit of a higher chance of actually winning, or, making all your buy-in money back, or whatever the case may be. Plus, I think it's going to be really interesting to see the strategy difference in this tournament as compared to some other ones. I mean, it's a 10 entry max, so some people feel like they have to take their absolute favorite players. Also, it's a smaller field, so some people might be a little bit more conservative and try to raise the floor on their players instead of maximizing for ceiling, which I might do a little bit of that too. I'm going to try to secure some veterans that are definitely going to give me some solid points in weeks 15, 16, and 17, because I don't want to finish down there. Excuse me. I don't want to finish down there near 54 once I make it to week 17. I want to have a nice solid floor established in week 17. I mean, and there is a disadvantage of drafting right now, like a couple days before the full schedule is going to come out in a couple of days, and then everyone's going to have the matchups, me included. I mean, I'm probably only going to do one entry into this contest before the actual schedule comes out. We'll see who's going to fall to us at 8 here. Oh my God, JSN. I'd love to get me some JSN. Nope, there he goes. All right, so we can still get McCaffrey or Taylor. I feel like I have to take Taylor right here. Start out running back strong. I actually do have a decent exposure to Taylor already. But, barring injury, he's one of those guys that's going to raise my floor. I mean, hopefully he has a spike week in the playoffs, but at the very least, he should put up, 15 or more points no matter what. I'm not going to have a low score as long as he is in the lineup. Not in one running back spot anyways. See what Whiskey Schlitz is going to do here. And we'll look around, and I don't recognize anyone that I'm drafting with. We'll see if we become more familiar throughout the draft season or not. If any of you guys in this draft with me come across this video, follow along. Join the team. And, let's see what's happening. Nothing crazy has really happened yet. I mean, well, besides St. Brown going before JSN, but, who knows? That could end up being okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily do that. When JSN is there, I'm probably going to take him because he doesn't fall towards the end of the first round quite as often as St. Brown does. But, also you take St. Brown 5th, you're going to end up with a little bit of a different team. But, all these ratings are going to change so much between now and the beginning of the season. I don't know if right now is the best time to optimize for uniqueness in the first round. Maybe, sure. There's some teams that maybe you'll be able to build right now that you can build at any other team. or at any other time. Let's see who's coming around to us at pick 17. All right. I might be looking elite tight end right here. Another raise the floor kind of situation in this smaller field contest. Take care of some of that in these early rounds. I definitely don't want to take many. I don't want to take many risks in these first couple of rounds. Like, I have no interest in taking Love right here. I will have plenty of exposure to Love in different tournaments. Probably not so much in this $10 smaller field tournament right here. A couple running backs just went. And looking at the top of ADP, like I said, I have a lot higher exposure to Bowers than McBride this year. Ooh, you know what? And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and take McBride right here. I think that, a lot of people like Love, but the truth is that the Cardinals are going to be playing from behind a lot. The Cardinals don't have a great offensive line. It's going to be hard for them to get the run game going. I think they're going to be forced to throw a lot, and McBride is going to be that safety blanket, and he should have a solid floor and a high ceiling throughout the season, but especially in the fantasy playoffs, I really need to establish myself a real solid floor here. And looking around, looks like, it's hard to tell so far, but a lot of people seem to be having a similar strategy. Let's see, this guy got real good value on JSN, Swenson or whatever, but then he took Hampton in the second round. Now that's another example, just like Love that I was talking about. In this tournament, I don't know if it's the best place to take shots on Hampton. I mean, the Chargers just signed Njoku, which does help a little, I suppose, but the Chargers just have a horrible offensive line, so I really don't expect Hampton to have quite the success he could have, if they brought a couple more pieces in to help with that offensive line. There goes Bowers. Let's see. Whoa, London 22nd. Interesting. This guy's starts chasing London. Now, when it comes to flyers later, I definitely have more wide receivers that I like later. So at least at this point in best ball drafting season, what I've been doing a lot is securing some strong running backs a little bit earlier, maybe getting a couple of veterans to establish the floor, and then taking some shots on wide receivers late. There's a lot of really good rookie wide receivers coming in this year. I mean, there was a ridiculous amount of wide receivers who got drafted in the first 3 rounds of the actual NFL draft. And a lot of these guys, a lot of them aren't going to pan out, but obviously some of them are. At least a solid handful of these guys are going to walk right into the league and be studs. And other guys might take a little bit of time to develop, but hopefully by the time the fantasy playoffs start, the best ball playoffs start up in week 15, hopefully these guys have established themselves as a favorite target for their quarterbacks on their new NFL teams. And those guys are the difference makers that hopefully we'll need in the best ball playoffs. I plan on taking down quite a few of these big prizes if I can. I know all of you guys are planning on taking down some of these big prizes. I put in a lot of work, and I always put in a lot of work. It's paid off a little bit in the past. But this year I did even more work, and hopefully it pays off even more. Coming up on 32, this guy got pretty good value on Allen. He's been going a little bit earlier than that, but the thing is, I don't love taking an elite tight end and an elite quarterback in the first 3 rounds. Josh Allen is different than everyone else, and he does put up those 50 burgers. So, it's a little bit harder to criticize when Josh Allen is the quarterback, but the truth is, first 3 rounds, you're thin at wide receiver, you're thin at running back, and there are tight ends and quarterbacks later in the draft that are going to produce. Maybe not quite as much as those guys, but pretty close. And the difference between, those next tier quarterbacks and tight ends is smaller than the difference to the next tier running backs and wide receivers. We're on deck right now. Nico Collins is still there. A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown goes. Okay, that makes my decision a little bit easier. It's a little bit confusing with A.J. Brown. I mean, it seems like he's bound for the Patriots, but then also there's all this drama that's going on with the Patriots. Is that still going to happen? I'm not even sure. I really don't have a lot of Nico Collins this year. I do think it's a little bit risky. He's gotten banged up both of the last couple of years, but I think he might be due for a huge breakout year. And then maybe that can set me up to take Stroud as my second or third quarterback. He goes a little bit too early to be my third quarterback, but maybe my second quarterback. And I don't have a whole lot of exposure to Stroud because I haven't taken Collins that much. So let's grab Collins in this and see if we can figure out a way to land Stroud as my quarterback 2. If I can, I'm not going to reach for him, but if I can figure out a way, I just might do it. I mean, people are down on Stroud, so I think I can get some pretty good value. Okay, so his ADP is 137 right now. Take a peek at the draft board with 137 in mind. I actually have picked 137 in the 12th round. So, assuming I already have a quarterback 1 on my team, I'm going to try to get Stroud here, right there at his ADP in the 12th round. If this draft develops and I have no quarterbacks at all, for whatever reason, I may go draft him 1 round ahead of ADP, but I usually have at least 1 quarterback at that point. We'll see how this shakes out. I mean, I try to plan all the different scenarios, but at the same time, my mind is not made up. I have to react to everyone in this draft because I'm trying to win this draft right here. I mean, you can't win the big pot unless you make it to the playoffs in the first place. So I need to beat out all these teams. We've got one guy starting real running back strong, so he might have some of the rookie wide receivers in mind that I like as well. This guy's thin at running back. These guys are a little bit balanced. Let's see here. And pick 41 is coming right up. Let's see who we're going to have. For pick 41. Now, Josh Allen already went, but DJ Moore just might be a smash in Buffalo. Devontae Adams is a solid veteran. He's aging a little bit, and I'm slightly concerned about it, but he is such a good red zone target. He's nice to have on your team in the fantasy playoffs and throughout the season to, secure some of those wide. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. All right, let's see here. Look, I'm going to grab Luther Burden, I think. Yeah, I'm going to grab Luther Burden right here. And if I can, and maybe I can get Rome Odunze as well, and Caleb Williams, and set up a Chicago stack here, because I love me some Caleb Williams. Oh my gosh, did you see him towards the end of the last year? It looked like he took a real nice step up. I feel real good about Caleb Williams this year. I think there's a real solid chance that he's a top 3 quarterback as far as production goes and fantasy points. He's got what it takes to be quarterback 1, honestly. I mean, I'm not projecting that exactly, but I think that he's going to produce a little bit more than what his ADP suggests right now. I think Luther Burden is going to step right up. I mean, he was pretty impressive as a rookie. I think that he's gained a little bit of trust from Caleb. Rome is also coming into himself. He took a little bit to adjust to the NFL. I think that so far, it looks like Malik Neighbors is the best of those big 3 from that draft with Neighbors and Harrison Jr. and Odunze. But Odunze looks like he wasn't a bust. And now Harrison isn't a bust either. I'm not calling Harrison a bust, but at the same time, it just doesn't look like he's probably ever going to turn into anything like what we were expecting him to be, which was like close to his dad's level, maybe better than his dad. I mean, that's better than his dad seems a little bit ridiculous now at this point. He seems solid. He's just so solid. He's more of a floor guy. He's a guy that I would be more likely to take in this contest than in other contests, especially since I already have Trey McBride. But, you know, I don't love the quarterback situation over there in Arizona. Jacoby Brissett. But then they took Beck too, right? Carson Beck? Yeah, they took Beck. So I'm not sure if Beck is going to challenge Brissett. Brissett had a real solid year last year, and he looks like he could be very serviceable. But is there pressure from the fans if they're not winning to bring in Beck? Probably. So if you go taking a flyer on one of those guys, you're probably going to get like half a season at best out of them. I don't know if that's my favorite stack to set up right now, is the Arizona stack. So for that reason, probably not going to take Harrison, or, you know, did Harrison already go? No, I don't think he went. But I wouldn't really consider taking Harrison. Yeah, no, he's not even close. Yeah, well, not on my radar. But who is on my radar? Pick 56 is coming up. DJ Moore is still sitting there, way past ADP. Did something happen with him? Is there news that I don't know about? No news available. I don't think so. Someone's going to snag him up. I like Terry McLaurin. I don't love the Commanders so much, but they just don't have that many different weapons. I think that Jaden Daniels is going to really have to lean on Terry McLaurin. He's going to have to make Terry McLaurin his main squeeze. You know what I mean? But Rome is also still sitting there, and if I did want to set up that Chicago stack, that might be a little bit smarter of me to do. Terry goes anyways. Bye-bye, Scary. Scary Terry went, and we're just going to grab up Dunze here, because if I can get Caleb with my next pick, I'm going to do that, set up myself a nice little Chicago stack. And we've got three veteran wide receivers who give us at least a decent floor on most weeks for, I'll say, 2 out of the 3 wide receiver positions, because, you know, it's hard to count on 2 guys from the same team every week. Of course, some weeks they're both going to be in there. They're both going to make it into my starting lineup, and considering I'm planning on taking Caleb with my next pick, I hope they do every week. But realistically, they're not going to. I have some really good rookie flyers to take later and some guys that maybe the rest of the field isn't as high on as I am, and hopefully they pan out, have some spike weeks, and outperform these guys for some of the weeks, further helping us win this draft and the regular season up until week 14, squeeze into the playoffs, and then hopefully make it to week 17. Obviously, in every draft, we're trying to make it to week 17 because that's where the real money is. You know, sometimes if you make it to week 16, usually you can like 5x your money or whatever if you lose in week 16, which is okay. But you need to do that in a whole bunch of drafts, you know, to win your buy-ins back if you're buying into a bunch of different best ball drafts. 65 is coming right up. We already know that we want Caleb if he's going to be there. I don't think... Yeah, he's not going to make it to me in the next round. So, just finish up that little... Well, maybe it's not finished. Maybe I'll take another flyer at someone else. Chicago later on. That's not out of the question, but we've already established a nice little Chicago stack if I can secure Caleb right here. And this dude already took Lamar last round, so I don't think... I mean, he could be doubling up, but it's a little bit risky to double up on quarterbacks this high. I mean, he might eliminate himself. And I wouldn't say that. He would not be eliminated right now if he took Caleb Williams and Lamar Jackson. But, you know, he would have a really high floor at quarterback, which in this draft probably isn't a bad idea. But it's just a little bit rich from my blood, a little bit too high in this draft to be doubling up on quarterback. You know, just kind of like I was talking about before, how this guy over here, JC fishing now, maybe he's fishing now. You know, he took an elite quarterback and an elite tight end in the first 3 rounds, and that really kind of lowers his floor for running back and wide receiver quite a bit. And in this kind of league, you really need to establish a solid floor. This is a little bit different than the big tournaments where we're really trying to win those. But in those ones, you got to take a little bit more shots, try to get a little bit more unique, and you know, try to set yourself in positions to where you're in week 17 and you get a spike week from someone that's super low owned in week 17. And And that's how you're going to finish high on the leaderboard. And, preferably that's how you're going to finish in the top spot. Take home that $3 million for the $25 contest, or even the $100,000 for the $3, that $3 contest, 20 entry max, where you can win $100,000 the first place. That's a nice tournament too. I really like that tournament, but the thing is, I'm trying to stretch out my exposure. I don't want to load up too much on that one and max out early in the season. I want to have it a little bit more balanced to where I do a decent amount of those drafts early and a decent amount late, because of the 20, kind of the same thing. Well, this $10 one will probably fill up pretty quick, and and then they'll start another $10 one. So most of the people drafting in this one will be drafting, kind of around now. But the thing is, like I was saying before, the playoff matchups are unknown right now. So those stacks are kind of impossible to make. That puts me at a disadvantage a little bit compared to, teams drafted, everyone who drafts in this tournament a couple of days from now when the schedule actually comes out and those playoff matchups are known. And then you can optimize further. That is an advantage, but I still wanted to get at least one entry in here right now. Check out how everyone is drafting. See if everyone is changing their strategy in a similar way as I am or not, because you want to be different from the field, but you want to give yourself an advantage. That's what this is all about, obviously. And we're taking a look here. I wasn't really peeking, but we only have one running back so far. And in the 7th round, preferably, I would like to have more than one running back. I don't love Pollard or Warren. I don't really love any of these guys. I'm going to have to fade running back for at least one more round. And I'm just going to snag up Mekhi Lemon. Rookie. It's risky. It's a risky one. The main risk being Jalen Hurts just doesn't like to throw across the field, and this guy projects out of the slot. But you know what? Mekhi Lemon is kind of a special player. I don't even remove the kind of. I want to retract my kind of. He's a special player. And I'm sure that the Eagles are going to scheme up ways to get him the ball. They might use him as a weapon. They might give him some carries, which, that's fine if he creates some explosive plays, but I would rather they threw him the ball, especially in this full PPR format, of course. But I think they're going to design some plays to get Mekhi Lemon the ball. Hopefully Hurts will throw him the ball over the middle, but if it's on out routes from the slot, or if it's on, if he's running routes towards the sidelines, that's fine. They're going to get the ball in his hands. Hopefully he has a lot of receptions. And he's the first real chance I've taken on this team. I've established a lot of floor, but you still need exposure to ceiling, obviously. If you get too conservative, you're kind of boxing yourself out as well. You might be boxing yourself right out of the regular season, but then once you get into the playoffs, you obviously need spike weeks from your guys. I'm not saying that these guys aren't capable of spike weeks. Of course they are. I mean, Jonathan Taylor could put up 30, 40 points in any week. McBride could put up 30 points. Collins could put up 30 points. All these guys could put up 30 points. But they're more. I was drafting them more with floor in mind and potential ceiling. Okay, 89's coming up. We still only have one running back. Do I take my Nunn guy? How many passes did he catch last year? He only had 23 receptions last year. Don't love it. But he did start to pick up and play a lot stronger towards the end of the season. You know what? Let's get Jackson Dart on this team. He's got a lot of rushing upside, and that's going to, between him and Caleb Williams, I feel real good about my quarterback floor and ceiling. So, okay, that's a nice start there. Hopefully we can get good value. And then now I'm definitely not taking Stroud before the 12th, and if I miss out on Stroud, I do not care. I do not need a Houston stack, but I do have Collins, especially if I can get one more Houston piece maybe. I'll look. Now it's a little bit lower on my list of priorities to snag up Stroud. I'm just going to try to optimize this team. I'm going to try to raise my floor. I'm going to try to raise my ceiling. And most of all, I'm going to try to beat out everyone in this draft. Sorry, Ken Maniac and A4 Culta and Josh Haggers. JC's fishing now. Thunder Rolls, the Garth Brooks fan, P.S. Wenson, C. Landis, Whiskey Schlitz, Lights Out, Game Theory 71, and Fernando 1922. Fernando, are you that old? Wow, I didn't. You might be the oldest person playing best ball. Fernando 1922 is over 100 years old playing best ball. Just kidding. All right, but let's look at this game theory. This Mr. Game Theory, which, if you don't know about game theory, you should probably look into that. Game theory is basically like the philosophy of beating other people, beating multiple people, not just in games, but in business and in anything where there's a competitive scenario and you're trying to win. I assume that Game Theory 71 is well versed in this topic, and I actually like his strategy so far. He's drafting pretty well. Us nerds seem to do that. Hey, you study a lot, you end up knowing stuff. Who knew? Okay, 104 is coming up soon. We got some quarterbacks going. We got a quarterback run going, but I don't care. I already have two real solid quarterbacks right now. Maybe it will take Stroud a little bit later if we can get solid value on him. But really, I'm super thin at running back still. I have Jonathan Taylor and nothing else. So I really have to prioritize that a little bit. I've already got 4 wide receivers. I said I was going to fade wide receivers a little bit until later. That plan got adjusted when we decided in the 4th round to see if we can get this 3-round stack, Chicago stack, and it worked out exactly how we planned it when it started. Okay, a lot of quarterbacks are going. Everyone is so worried about making sure they get 3 quarterbacks. Let's see, and Manungai is sitting there looking real tasty with my Chicago stack. I think he's gonna get a lot of goal line carries. Hopefully he gets a lot of touchdowns. Hopefully they throw him the ball a little bit more than they did last year as well. And there are some real nice players in this range, but I'm gonna grab Manungai and hope the next running back I have in mind is also there at 113. Guess I don't have to be so secretive since this isn't a live draft. Yeah. But I like Kenny Gainwell. He can catch the ball, and I think Baker Mayfield's going to like throwing him the ball. I think he's going to get at least 50% of the production too from the running back spot down there in Tampa Bay, and people are drafting him like he's not going to have nearly the production as Bucky Irving. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Gainwell is going to produce just as much. If not, maybe would it be out of the question to say more? I mean, I don't think it's out of the question. I think it's a solid possibility. And because I'm so thin at running back, I might have to take him, or I could take Dalton Kincaid here. I already have McBride, but I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm leaning on McBride and then I totally fade tight ends until the end of this draft. And then what happens if McBride gets hurt? Then this is just a loser, right? So I don't want to completely fade tight end, but considering I did start out thin at running back, I think I should still focus there right now. Blake Corum, he's got a little bit of competition over there in LA, but the Rams have the best offensive line. They had the best offensive line ratings last year in the NFL, like the number 1 best rated offensive line is what I mean, as far as, PFF ratings and all that stuff. So, I don't think that Blake Corum, it's out of the question that he could step up and produce a little bit more than he did last year. But I like Gainwell more. I mean, look at the ADP difference between these guys. These guys are 15 spots different in ADP. Corum's going 103. Gainwell's going 118. I like Gainwell a lot more than Corum. And you know what? I like Charbonnet too. But the thing about Charbonnet is people are expecting him to have the bulk of the carries, and maybe he will in the beginning of the season. But I think that Jadarian Price is going to stake a claim to a solid amount of those carries. So I'll be looking at Price a little bit later maybe. Or did he? Oh, he might already went. Okay. But I'm taking Gainwell, like I said. Gainwell's my guy. At least he is right now. He's on my team, dog. I hope you do amazing. I hope you have 5 touchdowns in week 17. Please. Baker, make that happen for me. I know you're watching this video, Baker. Of course you are. All right. All right. I'm liking this team so far. We got Taylor and McBride establishing a real nice floor in my tight end spot and one of my running back spots. Started fading running back a little bit, but we got some nice veteran wide receivers in Collins, Burden, and Adunze, guys who are proven in the league, who are favorite targets of their quarterbacks. I got this nice little Chicago stack with Burden, Adunze, and Caleb Williams. I added to it a little bit later when I took Monangai, but he doesn't catch a whole lot of passes, so I'm not really considering that a strong part of this stack. This was more about me just being thin at running back, and I do think he's going to get a lot of third and short touches, a lot of goal line touches, and hopefully he breaks off a couple big ones, big runs and big games, a couple of nice spike weeks. I mean, he had one real good week last year. Where is it? He had 22 against the Eagles. I thought he had one better one than that. Oh, 25 against Cincinnati. So he had two real nice weeks last year. But that was almost completely unexpected. But now the Bears know a little bit more what they have. I think he's going to get a little bit more percentage of the touches in the backfield. And hopefully a lot of those come on the goal line. Well, you know, we have Caleb as the quarterback too. So, you know, hopefully he catches passes on the goal line. That would be optimal, I guess, right? But hopefully Chicago is just a high-scoring team this year. I know they're traditionally kind of defensively oriented, but, you know, with these weapons they have, it's certainly not out of the question that they are a high-scoring offense, and that stack is going to pay off real nice for me. And, all right, so all these quarterbacks went. Nobody reached for Stroud, so he's still out there. I might try to get him around past ADP. I think that's what I'm going to do, even though I have 137, which is Stroud's exact ADP right now. A lot of people have taken, a couple guys over here only have one quarterback, and they're all going to pick twice again before my next pick in the 13th. But I think I could take the chance. If Stroud's still there at 152, I'll take him. If not, you know what? I'm real happy with the floor I have between Caleb Williams and Jackson Dart. So it won't be a big deal at all for me to wait and grab one of the very last guys, Shedeur Sanders, or, you know, whatever. Or maybe I'll just roll with 2 quarterbacks. I mean, that's a little bit risky, especially before the bye weeks are known, which is another thing that's going to find out. We're all going to know soon, and that's another advantage to drafting a few days from now as opposed to now, especially in these tournaments that are still going to be going, you know, where some of these teams were drafted before the schedules were known, before the bye weeks were known, before the playoff matchups were known. But right now, right before the schedule comes out, we're kind of taking blind shots, hoping to get lucky. You know, because that is going to change. It's going to change the ADP. It's going to change strategy, all those things that I just said. So, you know, certain players are going to be available right now in certain places that you wouldn't expect. Now, I already have Jackson Dart. I'm going to grab Isaiah Likely, like I said, because I don't want to fade tight end too much just because I took Trent McBride in the second round, just in case something were to happen to him. And now I have one of Jackson Dart's weapons here, setting up a little giant stack. There is another player or two that I could add to that a little bit later, and we'll see if that happens or not. Next up, we have pick 137, and with pick 137, let's see. If Charbonnet's there, I may have to take him. Gadsden's value really just got hurt by the signing of David Njoku. Is he still? He is still here. You know what? I think I like David Njoku more than Gadsden. I know Gadsden has come through and been Mr. Spike Week in the past, but I feel like David Njoku is just, I mean, he's one of the most talented tight ends in the league. He's been in a real bad situation for a while. Not saying that the Chargers are a way better situation than the Browns, but it's a little bit of a better situation than the Browns. He's got Herbert throwing the ball. I think Njoku could smash. He could be really good, and the better he is, the worse that is for Gadsden, who just got drafted right there. All right, we still have Shahid out there. Charbonnet's real solid. Seattle likes to run the ball. I like Tyrone Tracy a lot. The Giants did a lot to improve their offensive line. I said if Charbonnet was there, I was going to grab him. Let's just snatch him up. Okay, so we're pretty balanced. 2 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, wide receivers, and 2 more tight ends. So, pretty balanced so far. And I think that we've established a pretty good floor at all of our positions, which is very important in these smaller fields contests. I can't emphasize that enough. We have to change our strategy. We can't be drafting in these leagues with a 10 entry max the same way that we draft in 150 entry tournaments. It's just not logical. You don't put yourself in the best position to win if you're using the same strategy in all your different types of tournaments. You know, it's kind of like the difference when you're playing DFS. Playing DFS, if you're playing tournament style, you want to take chances, you want to be unique, you want to be the only one that has this guy that no one expected to do well, who scores 30 points. That's how you come in first place in DFS, large fields tournaments. But when you're playing cash tournaments, against a smaller field, and it's a little bit less top heavy, you want to have a higher floor. You want to ensure that you are going to beat out the smaller. Sometimes it's one other person that you're trying to beat in those situations. And in those situations, you want to take shots because you take the shots, you have multiple zeros in your lineup, and you end up losing. It's kind of the same thing with this. We want as few zeros in any of our spots as possible. We need to finish this season steady Eddie, finish in the top 2 positions for weeks 1 through 14, and then have a real nice solid floor all through the playoffs. And then also get a few spike weeks. And that's going to put us in position to win big time money. And hopefully I can leverage this tournament here, this $10 buy-in, 10 entry max, and squeeze in 2 or 3 teams into week 17. Get a couple of those teams finishing top 15, one of them finishing top 10. I'll make back all of my buy-in money and a little bit more, and everything else will be bonus, including one of those $1 million prizes that I win in the Millionaire Maker. You know what I mean? Obviously, like I said, that is still the main goal. I'll be doing most of those lineups a little bit closer to the season. Definitely, after the schedule is out. Once the schedule is out, then I'll start hammering those entries. But I need to know the bye weeks. I need to know the week 15, 16, and 17 matchups so I can start stacking them up. Yeah, there's a little bit of advantage of drafting early, but I think there's the most advantage of drafting right after all that information is known. So now, who do we have available to us right now? I'm going to hope that my guy, Jonah Coleman, is still there 1 round from now. And I am going to grab me some Ayuk. He was hurt, but you know what? Don't forget how good he is. Don't forget that Ayuk is a really good player. I mean, a couple of years ago, Ayuk going in the 13th round was never ever going to happen. He's still the same guy. Yeah, he got banged up. I'm hoping he's hurt. He's healthy this year. He has Big Mike to contend with, but teams are going to double Big Mike, and Ayuk and some of the other weapons, especially McCaffrey, obviously, but some of these other guys are really going to eat. And, normally at this point in drafts, especially in bigger tournaments, I'm trying to identify rookies. I'm trying to get a little bit unique to really maximize my ceiling and stuff like that. But, like I said, this is the $10 10 entry max. You have to use a different strategy. I have to get some veterans. This one is a little bit risky, but you know what? He has the potential to be the difference maker. Now at 161 coming up, I do have a rookie that I really love. And if he's there, I am taking him. I just absolutely love him. value, when you consider value, and that you can get this guy in the 14th, I've even gotten him in the 15th round post draft. I got him even later than that pre-draft. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, if there's anything you remember from these things that I'm telling you, this is what you have to remember. Jonah Coleman, okay? He's better than RJ Harvey. He's better than J.K. Dobbins. He is going to stake a claim to the majority of the carries in Denver by midseason. Calling it right now. Now, as you can tell by the resemblance, I am related to Miss Cleo. So I do know these things. Obviously, I'm just kidding. And Denzel Boston is another rookie that I like. I wasn't going to target him because he's a little bit of higher risk in this format, in my opinion. Jonah Coleman, though, I do not think is that big of a risk. I think it's pretty solid, especially having him now as my running back 5. My running backs are looking real strong. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is the only absolute safe bet, barring injury. But you know what? I really like me some Kenneth Gainwell. Monangai could potentially be in store for a step up and a much larger role this year in year 2. I liked him last year as a rookie, and that did pay off. If you had access to my brain last year, Monangai would have been one of the guys that I was talking about. And Woody Marks, Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon paid off a little bit less than I expected him to, but I really thought Achane was not going to be fully healthy, and if that was the case, Ollie Gordon would have absolutely smashed. But you know what? I wasn't telling people to take him, mid rounds. I was saying that Woody Marks and Ollie Gordon and Tez Johnson were my 3 favorite 20th round picks last year in best ball. Now, closer to the season, all 3 of them started raising an ADP a little bit, but I had real high exposure to all 3 of those guys in round 20 last year, and that really helped me. Win a lot of my money back. And last year was kind of a break-even year. The year before that was very profitable. This year I've done more research than ever, especially when it comes to rookies. And I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be a profitable year for me. I have an advantage over most drafters in every draft. A lot of guys are just homers. A lot of guys' strategy is whack. There's a lot of reasons why you can just eliminate 3 or 4 teams in every draft. They have no chance at all. Let's see who that is here. Maybe this guy with Kyler Murray and Ward and Rodgers. Woo! Those are your 3 guys. Game theory started strong. This quarterback is real weak. Now, could Cam Ward take a huge step up this year with Tate? And does he have? I think he has Tate. He does have Tate. So he set that stack up. I don't love Murray. I never loved Murray. I like him even less with the Vikings than I did with the Cardinals, I think. I mean, I know he's got Jefferson. Dude, they don't have a great offensive line, and Kyler Murray can't even see over the offensive line. He can't even tell if they're doing well or not. By the time he realizes if they are, he's on his back. So, 176 is coming right up. What do we got going on here? Like I said, Jacoby Brissett is risky because he's probably only going to play half the year. Now, as quarterback 3, though, that's not so bad. I probably do like him more than Geno, more than Tua, who I don't even expect to play. I like him maybe more. Shedeur Sanders could be in store for a real good year, though. He's got a couple of real nice rookies. Look through here. Is it time to look? You know what? Let's grab David Njoku. I expect his ADP to raise a lot. I just reached for him a little bit, but his ADP is not really reflecting being signed with the Chargers yet. I expect him to start. He's been going in the 16th, 17th round, as a free agent, and he's just starting to creep up in ADP. I expect him to start going up in this range here with these guys, with Likely, Andrews, Ferguson. I think Likely is probably the most productive of all those guys, but I think Njoku is going to be clustered in with these guys. Maybe Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid usually goes a little bit earlier, but right up here in the 10th, 11th round, it's probably where he's going to be going later. So that's kind of a value pick. And now, considering I already have McBride and I have 2 mid-round tight ends who I expect to contribute at least a little bit, both of them, likely has the potential to outperform McBride some weeks. I think we're good with tight end. Feeling pretty good at running back, although I could take another flyer. I probably want one more quarterback if I can get a good deal, but we really want some wide receivers. We want to maximize the chance of some spike weeks. I've got a solid floor, but now we need to find some guys who some of those weeks are just going to come out of nowhere and outperform our veterans, squeeze into the lineup, be the difference maker that gets us to the playoffs and beyond. Really, to week 17. It's like my bare minimum for every lineup. I'm trying to get to week 16, bare minimum, at least. Get a bunch of that buy-in money back. If you can finish week 16 with enough lineups, you actually can win your buy-in back. But one team in week 17 can win your entire buy-in back, and you could multiply it many, many times. That's obvious. It's obviously what we're trying to do. Okay, 185 is coming right up. Like I said, I'm probably looking at wide receivers right now. Not sure if Debo is going to sign with anyone. No news available right now. Jerry Jeudy suddenly has a lot more competition out there in Cleveland for targets. Let's see what's going on here. 200 is going to be my next pick. So is my other guy. Take a look around. Let's take Malachi Fields. I don't want him to get sniped. I have Jackson Dart. I have Isaiah Likely. But now with Malachi Fields, I have a nice little giant stack as well. And you know what? The health news with Neighbors, I love Neighbors. Neighbors is one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. In my opinion, he's probably top 3. But that's if he's healthy. And he just is not healthy. The reports have not been great on his knee. There is a chance. Obviously, he's aiming to be out there and ready for week 1. Not sure if he's going to be. Even if he is, I think it might be a little bit of a deacon decoy kind of situation where he's out there just kind of getting attention from the defenses while Isaiah Likely and Malachi Fields really eat. and if it happens like that, that's going to be real nice. And I do think by the end of the season, Malachi Fields is going to be one of Jackson Dart's favorite targets. He's huge. He's huge, and he can high point the ball. And you know what? Don't sleep on his run after the catch either. People were talking he didn't have a full route tree, but that's not really true. I mean, yeah, it might appear that way if you look at his tape from Notre Dame, but you know what? He only played for Notre Dame for 1 season, I believe. And before that, he was playing in Virginia, and in Virginia, he had a more expensive route tree, and his Virginia tape looks even better. But in Notre Dame, they had Love, they had Price, they had a lot of offensive weapons. They were spreading it out. And he had some incredible catches and some real nice highlights from Notre Dame as well. But that tape could have been way better if he was on a different team with a few less offensive weapons, with a little bit of a less strong running game. So. I really think Fields could have been a first-round wide receiver if he was in a different college offense. So that might be really good news for the New York Giants, who I expect to have a big improvement over last year. Jackson Dart should really have a big year too. And he, judging by his rookie year, he has a real high floor, with his rushing ability. But, and another reason why I took Fields a little bit above ADP is not only do I expect him to rise towards the beginning of the season, but on top of that, I still only have 2 quarterbacks. And I like the idea of having 3, especially while drafting this team before the schedule is known. I mean, it's very possible that Dart and Caleb Williams could have a bye week in the same week, and that would just give me an automatic 0. And then, if you take a 0 in your quarterback spot for 1 week, and then you lose, you finish in third place by like 15 points. Oh my God, that's the worst. You know what I mean? It's like you could have just taken a late round flyer on a quarterback, hopefully gotten a few points out of him that week, and then you would have been in the playoffs. Now, after the schedule is known and the bye weeks are known, depending on who I have, there are definitely some times where I'm going to build some 2 quarterback teams. But right now, pre-schedule, you kind of have to be safe. I don't think Tua, who just went, is a very good quarterback to take late. I mean, there's a chance that he plays or Penix gets hurt or whatever. But Tua obviously has a much higher injury risk, and they didn't give him a big contract. I mean, it might even be like a minimum contract for however long he's played. It was like $1 million contract or something, 1 year. Okay. Pick 2 hundo coming right up. What are we looking at with pick 200? I think I can wait. I might take one more running back, but I'm not going to take him in this round. Let's look what we got here. We have Zachariah Branch, the screen machine, and down in Atlanta is still available. Keon Coleman. You know what? I like Keon Coleman. I think that he might not be so consistent, but at least a few weeks throughout the season, I think he's going to be Josh Allen's target of the week. Last year started out real strong. He had a big week 1, and then he was a little bit of a disappointment for the rest of the year. I was higher on him last year, and then after week 1, I'm like, oh my gosh, I made the right pick. But then that never really showed itself again. He had some highlights, but as far as the high scoring weeks, there wasn't many. But taking him as my 7th wide receiver, I really only need him in the lineup a week or 2, and that's going to be enough to contribute and make him worthy of that 17th round pick. Now, like I said, I would like to get another quarterback if I can find someone who is likely to play. Now, these 2 guys, I happen to like. I like Shedeur Sanders to start over Deshaun Watson, but you know what? I have a sneaky suspicion that my man right here, Taylon Green, the rookie out of Arkansas, is going to beat those guys out. I mean, he's real exciting. He was probably, besides Mendoza, he was my literal quarterback, not literal. He wasn't my quarterback 2 or anything, but he was my second favorite quarterback. And when I looked at the tape, I'm like, you know what? This guy looks like he could be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. He's got all the skills. He might need to work on the accuracy just a little bit, but that's the kind of thing that's slightly coachable. You can fix your mechanics a little bit and improve your accuracy. He's got the intangibles. He's got the playmaking ability. When the play breaks down, he makes something happen. He's super fast. I mean, lightning fast. Man, I'm not gonna take him with this pick, but in the 19th round, if he's there, I might just grab him. He's gonna be my backup plan, assuming that somebody else is gonna take Shedeur or Watson instead of him. I will let my draft mates take those landmines, and I'm gonna take. It's risky. It's risky because I do want that floor in the bye week because this is the low entry tournament with 10 entry max. But because of that, Green could be like super low owned. He could be super low owned. I'm not sure what's going to happen closer to the season, if he's going to start showing up, a little bit of buzz about him. It's so possible. I think I'm not taking him here. Like I said, in the 19th round, I may just take a shot on him. And I'm going to take Zach Branch, the screen machine, and just hope that he gets. I'm taking him in the 18th round. This guy has a legitimate chance to catch like 70, 80 passes. Not even kidding. Because they're going to throw him a lot of high percentage passes, a lot of really short passes, a lot of a lot of dinks and dunks, screen passes, bubble screens, stuff like that. They're just going to get the ball in this guy's hand almost like an extension of the run game. I think it's going to do real good things for Bijan Robinson, but I think Bijan Robinson more so is going to do real good things for Branch. I think that they're going to be loading up the box to try to stop Bijan, and Branch is just going to be off in the cut. They're not going to be paying attention to him. They're just going to throw him those high completion passes and let him pound away 5, 10 yards, 20 yards a pop over and over and over multiple times a game. I do think that's how they're going to utilize my man, Zach Branch. And if Zach Branch and Malachi Fields can both pay off, oh my. Because I'm telling you, I have a lot of faith Jonah Coleman is going to pay off. For 14th round value, he's going to pay. This might be a $100,000 winning team right here. I mean, we got the floor. We got the upside, the ceiling. There is no ceiling. You know, we can, oh yeah. Our ceiling is ridiculous. And you know what? The thing that could screw me is if Caleb and Jackson Dart end up having the same bye week. So I do have to take another flyer. But I think I'm going to get risky with it. I know I've been mostly safe in this draft, but I think I'm going to get risky with it at the end. And if Taylon Green is there, and I fully expect him to be, I could probably wait till the 20th round if I wanted to. If he's there, I think I'm just going to snag him up, secure my third quarterback, even if there is a really high risk. I mean, probably 70% chance or better that this guy doesn't even play, you know. But in that other 30% of scenarios, if he plays, I'm telling you, he's got incredibly high rushing upside. And maybe they bring him in. Maybe they just bring him in here and there for specialty plays, running the ball. Maybe he becomes a goal line weapon. Maybe he becomes a running back. I mean, the Browns had a really good draft. They took two of my absolute favorite wide receivers, in Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. I think those guys, I mean, it's not the optimal situation for them, but those guys, as far as talent goes, some of the best wide receivers in the whole draft. They also got themselves Taylon Green, who, I mean, this guy was the sleeper quarterback. Nobody was talking about him. I watched the tape. I'm like, how is nobody talking about this guy? I mean, now I know that when you're watching the highlights, they don't necessarily show you the lowlights, and I didn't go out of my way to watch his lowlights. But the lowlights are the kind of things that could be eliminated by the coaching staff. You know, it's the highlights, his ability, what kind of special things can he do? That's what really stood out to me, and we'll see how things end up over there in Cleveland. But I just have a real strong feeling that Green is going to end up being the quarterback in Cleveland by maybe mid-season, week 10. Hopefully by the fantasy playoffs. That's the real goal. I mean, if he, in any fantasy playoff week, if he's the reason why I advance, then that's more than worth taking with the 19th round pick. You know, and with these last picks, I say starting in the 16th round. That's usually the advice that I give. The 16th round and beyond, ADP no longer matters. Because you want to be unique back here. You want to win the draft back here. You don't want to do the same thing as everyone else on average. If you're doing the same thing as everyone else on average, you're basically just throwing their money into the pot, forfeiting it, and fattening up my pockets. You know what I mean? All right, we're coming up on our last pick. We'll identify a solid player for this last pick. Let's look at our team. We're not hurting anywhere. Running back is a little bit thin. So maybe we'll take a shot on a running back. I still like Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon is a really talented player. He's a big, strong back. I think that regardless of Achane's health, Gordon is going to get a little bit more of the share this year, and those touches that he gets are probably going to come on the goal line. If Achane is banged up at all, Gordon becomes an absolute smash. Who else? Is there anyone else that I might consider taking? Don't love you guys. I really don't think there is, to the point to where if my dude gets taken, Gordon, I might have to look at a different position. I mean, I could snag Jaden Blue. Don't love it. Yeah, I really I really don't project great things for many of these players. And this is why in the beginning of the draft, I was saying, you know what, I kind of want to get strong at running back because I don't love the running backs that are available late in the draft. Now, there are some really solid guys available in these mid rounds, and that's what I ended up doing here. And this is a little bit different strategy because in a lot of my other drafts, I've been stacking up 2 or 3 running backs throughout the first 3 or 4 rounds, really securing solid running back contribution. We're on the clock with our last pick, and I'm gonna take Ollie Gordon. I only have 5 running backs. Hopefully he can help out at least one of the weeks. Now let's take a little review over this draft. Let's see what happened. All right, so we'll just look at everyone's total player counts. Looks like almost everyone has 3 quarterbacks except for my man C. Landis, who has May and Daniel Jones. 2 very solid quarterbacks. Hopefully they don't end up on the same bye week. He's got a semi-balanced team otherwise, besides the only 2 quarterbacks. He's strong at running back with McCaffrey and Henry to start. Brown, I do expect to be really good in New England, and he does have him stacked with Drake May and Henderson. Tyson has injury concerns, but he very well could be an immediate star. Obviously, we got more to go with the New England stack. This guy's really stacking New England. You know what? This guy's got a pretty solid team here. He punted at tight end, which is going to hurt him, especially in this small format tournament here. He does not have really any floor established at all. I will be outscoring this person in the tight end spot and the quarterback spot and the wide receiver spot every week. And will he have enough from his running back spot to overcome that difference? I do not think so. C. Landis drafted a pretty good team, but sorry, buddy, I don't think you're making the playoffs. Let's see what else stands out. We have no 4 quarterback teams. Almost everyone took 3 tight ends except for Kinmank. And Kinmank has 2 tight ends, and they are Pitts and Kelsey, 2 guys who are really good for 5 or 10 points a week. Kelsey really seems like he's on the downslide, and I think that they're phasing him out of the offense. I am going to outscore this guy at tight end every single week. He's got Stafford as his number 1 quarterback, Mendoza, and I will be outscoring you at quarterback every single week. He's got some strong wide receivers and running backs. I'm not going to say that this guy has no chance. He has a small chance, but it really depends on a very small amount of low probability events happening for this guy to be able to win. Oh, we do have a 4 quarterback team. Oh, because he drafted it with his last pick probably. And when I was first looking, he only had 3, but now he's got 4. So he's got Goff, he's got Chuck, he's got Cousins, and he's got Beck. So Cousins and Beck, both of them may play half of the season. If it works out, here's how it could work out for this guy. It could work out if Cousins starts the season for Las Vegas before they feel like Fernando Mendoza is ready to play. I don't think the chances of that are high. I actually think Fernando Mendoza is going to start week 1, and Cousins is just going to be there for his mentorship and to help him out in the classroom, in the meetings and stuff like that. But if Cousins starts, the first 6 weeks of the season, and then the Cardinals are struggling, and Jacoby Brissett is playing well, but the Cardinals are losing, and the fans are throwing a fit, and the fans are making a big stink that they want Carson Beck to come in and play, and he comes in and plays right as Cousins comes out and stops playing, and they bring in Mendoza. Maybe these guys combined to be your quarterback 3. Good luck with that, buddy. I don't think it's going to work out like that. I think both of these guys end up playing 2 games this year, and they don't do well. Neither one of them. Now, your top 2 quarterbacks I do like. So, Goff and Chuck are solid. But do we have any? We have Olave to stack with Chuck. And Tesla. Okay, so we have weak stacks here. Don't love his team, but he probably has a better chance of winning than the guy in the number 1 hole, but not great. Josh Hager started our wide receiver strong. He started with Chase, who you can't complain with. This guy's been the best wide receiver in the league for a while. He reached for London. I don't think London is a great pick here in the second round. Neighbors is an incredible pick here in the third round, even if he's banged up for a couple weeks. Getting third round value on one of the best couple wide receivers in the NFL. That's obviously really, really good value. I think Judkins has a really good year. I think Bucky Irving has a pretty good year. The only reason I don't like Bucky Irving here in this pick is because I think he has similar production to Gainwell, who I was able to get with the 113th pick. So, you took Irving 51, I took Gainwell 113, and they're going to have similar production. If anything, Gainwell might outproduce you. Warren is a real solid quarterback. Hubbard is solid. Nix and Purdy are good quarterbacks. This guy's got a pretty good team. I think so far out of the first couple teams I've seen, this guy has the best team. And he started wide receiver strong, which I don't know if that's the best year to do it, but he did. He pulled it off in a way that I really like. The next guy, I already commented on earlier, I do not like how he went elite tight end and elite quarterback in the first 3 rounds. That just automatically makes you thin everywhere else. He's got Devontae Adams as his number 2 wide receiver to go with Puka, and he does not have Stafford. He was probably planning on taking Stafford, but he got sniped out from under him, whatever. So now he didn't get the stack he wanted. He also took a tight end and a quarterback in elite draft positions. He's thin everywhere else. He's hoping that BTJ has a bounce back year, very possible. I don't love Reed. We'll see what Wan'Dale Robinson is able to do out there. They probably will rely on him a lot, and he probably will be a high reception kind of guy. He's a floor guy. He's good for this format, but he's not really a ceiling guy. Higgins, blah. Jonathan Brooks, if he can be healthy, if he can come back from those 2 ACL tears and finally be the guy that we were expecting him to be, he could be a smash. Willis, I don't know how good Willis is going to be, but taking him as one of your 3 quarterbacks is not out of the question. It's okay. You're just hoping for a couple spike weeks from them here and there. This guy took Stroud, who I was originally looking for earlier. He paired him with Schultz. And does he have any other Houston weapons? This guy's got an okay team. It's kind of blah. It's kind of middle of the road. Maybe stick to fishing. Okay, our Garth Brooks fan here. Garth Brooks. Thunder rolls. We took Amon-Ra ahead of JSN. We took Chase Brown. Solid. All right. Loveland. Lawrence and Love. Yeah, I don't love this guy's team at all. Not making the playoffs. Sorry, buddy. P.S. Wenson. P.S. The end of the letter. JSN. Hampton and Love. Hampton and Love, horrible second and third round picks. Sorry, buddy. You're already eliminated from the playoffs. Landis. Landis started strong. We already talked about Landis. Landis got Jones. Did he grab a third quarterback? He didn't. Oh, this is the first guy that we already talked about. Moving right along. We got me. Whiskey Slits. Whiskey Slits took Justin Jefferson in the first round. Listen, I know this guy's really talented, but you're taking Justin Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb. You're taking him, even over Neighbors, who went in the third round. Justin Jefferson has no quarterback. He has no offensive line. He averaged 12 points a game last year. You're taking him in the first round. I know he's really talented. This is a team sport, okay? If you don't have the supporting cast, you need a supporting cast to validate being a number 1 pick. Don't like it. He did come through with Walker and Jacobs, who were solid. Jacobs, both of those guys are slight risks, but could pay off. Both of them have potential to be top 5 quarterbacks. McMillan is nice. Jackson, Alec Pierce is a real nice pick. Pollard is a little bit of a flyer. Godwin, we'll see what happens. This guy's, he liked some good rookies. The rookies that this guy identified as being good are pretty solid, except for Omar Cooper Jr., who has no one to throw him the ball, and he also has no offensive line to protect his quarterback for the Jets. This guy, if he gets lucky and has some spike weeks at the right time, could maybe possibly squeak in the playoffs as the other team besides me. Don't think so, but maybe has a small chance. Lights out 09. CD and Achane, good star. Devonta Smith, Scattaboo, DJ Moore, Hurts, Prescott. Ooh, this guy's got a solid team. Oh, this is our All right, Goddard, Ferguson, Henry. Solid, very solid. This guy's got a solid chance. Game Theory. Game Theory started real strong running back with Cook and Barkley. He had it in his mind that he wanted to start with 3 running backs, so he took Breece Hall. I would have waited. I would have taken someone higher value and taken Hall would have still been here with your 4th round pick. You could have taken Egbuka. You could have taken Egbuka here and Hall here, and it would have been a better build. Watson doesn't seem like he's panning out. Tate, this guy's got Cam Ward. We already looked at this a little bit earlier. This guy's got a pretty solid team. And then last but not least, we have the 104-year-old Fernando, 1922. Started with Gentry and Rice and Higgins and Egbuka and Burrow and Parker Washington, Pat Mahomes. This guy drafted a team like this was a large field tournament, which is not going to, maybe he can squeak into the playoffs. But if he does, he's eliminated in week 15. This has been great. Summing up how the strategy is a little bit different with the $10 smaller field drafts. Come back, watch more drafts, sub to the channel, like this video. See you next time.